Hey, you're listening to the All In Networker podcast. My name's Dan McCabe, and we are in day 40 of All In for 90. So today we're going to be talking about your story. Yesterday we talked more about the hook and really honing in on that. Today is the story. Today is the visualization that you are giving the person that you're speaking to that they are ultimately going to be able to see themselves in once you present your offer. So it's an important topic. It's an important thing. We've all heard the old adage, facts tell, stories sell, and it's true. So let's get into it. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dan, and today, day 40, talking about the story. First and foremost, I will give you a quick recap of the day. So today, I actually blocked off a good chunk of my calendar. My plan was to actually go and look at some real estate investment deals over in South Dakota. Some things that we're looking at. Minnesota is really, really weird to invest in right now. So that was the plan, but now that plan looks like it got delayed until middle of next week sometime. So, I kind of woke up with a blank schedule. I'm like, I need to make something happen and I need to do it quickly. So I sent out an email blast at the last second, set up a couple appointments, and was able to get a couple of calls in. Now, it wasn't as active as yesterday. Yesterday was just gold. Yesterday felt so good, was so much fun, was really excited about it, and I'm excited to do more calls, I'm excited to set up more days like that. And that, I'm going to have a lot more stories like that to come just because I figured, it's not so much I figured something out yesterday, but I felt something that was different. I already knew appointments kind of give me life when I have a lot of appointments, when they go well, when I start asking for more money, when I start making more sales. But I felt something when all of a sudden I started getting that momentum. And sometimes when you get into momentum and you can feel it, oh, it feels so good, and it's addicting. That's the nice thing about momentum is when you get it, when you fight through and you push through to the point that you have it and you're starting to feel it, it's addicting and it makes you want it more. And then you just want to make it grow, and you'll do everything that you can. And when you have it, sometimes some of you're going to stumble into momentum accidentally. You're going to accidentally stumble into somebody that you sign up on your team who goes and puts in 30, 40, 50 people. And you're going to be like, I've got it. I've got this momentum, even though you didn't really do much. When that happens to you, make sure that you do everything you can to maintain it. Because momentum's a hard thing to pick back up if you ever let it slide. So whenever you work really hard and you get into it, you want to keep it going. You got to keep it going. You got to keep pushing through to the point that it can carry on without you. But that point is probably 3 to 4 times further out than you think it is. So you just really want to go crazy. You want to go so far that that it just can't be stopped. That you couldn't stop it if you wanted to. So, all right, today's topic, we're talking about discovering your story. So kind of throughout this process, we've been working on our story. We've been working on our belief. Whether we know it or not, we've been creating experiences, things that we can talk about. In the beginning, when we're first talking to somebody, we talk about that hook, especially in a video, but even in a live presentation. Like, we have a short window of time with that hook to sell them on the idea of listening to our story. And that's all we're trying to close them on is the hook, is, hey, listen to my story. So then you get into your story. Your story, sometimes people take this way too literally, and they start telling their life story. Nobody really cares about the life story. People want to hear stories of how what it is that you're doing can work, stories that are, I want to say humorous because it's fun. You want to make them as lighthearted as possible. I mean, good old-fashioned, vulnerable, emotional stories, they're good as well, rags to riches. People use those. But I wouldn't even call him a mentor of mine. In the very first network marketing company that I worked in, I'm looking at the dates here. I'm like 14 years ago, I was working a trade show table kind of at the back of this big real estate gurus event. This was before I'd really done anything too cool within the seminar space. Even really within network marketing, the company I was in just knew I was a hustler. And I wasn't even in this real estate guru's downline, but he had 400 people on an event. And they needed somebody that was willing to go out there and work the table for whatever reason. And they said they'd pay me $500 a sale. They'd pay for my trip. And I was like, done. Let's go. I mean, didn't hurt that I was really into real estate at the time too, and I was doing a lot of real estate type deals. And this guy, he was good. He was so good up on stage. He was a expert in commercial real estate, and that's what he was speaking on. But if you watched him on stage, he was a comedian. He was a comedian. He was a storyteller. And the entire event, he had something like, I want to say 200 to 300 people there. And being that I was working in the back of the room at a trade show table effectively, I spent a lot of time talking to the staff of the event, and I'm very inquisitive and I ask a lot of questions. And I gathered that he averaged $5,000 a head of people that were in his room. Now, they already paid $500 a piece to be there in the first place. So 500 times 300, you can do that math. But then $5,000 a head times 300, holy cow. So, I mean, because that was his goal. That was the 5,000 a head was what he was selling during the event, his upsells into his coaching programs and things like that. And I was able to talk to him a little bit in the back of the room, and I was talking to his brother quite a bit too. That was kind of running the show. And his brother would just sit there back there and laugh, but he wasn't laughing at his brother's stories. He was laughing because he knew what was going to happen. And they both had this saying that the money is in the funny. And, you know, I don't want this to come off as you need to be a comedian in order to do really well in business, but because you don't. But creating one or two good, fun, lighthearted stories to tell during your presentation, there's nothing wrong with that. And anybody can do that. It doesn't have to be crazy. I'll give you an example. During my main presentation that I would do, I always felt like, you know, one of the bigger objections that I would get towards the end of a presentation had more to do with the industry of network marketing than the product or the company that I was involved with. And so I decided I was going to start handling that objection mid-presentation, because if you get an objection enough times, or if you see that that's becoming an issue, it's easier just to handle it during the actual presentation so that it doesn't come up. So I would spend a little bit of time during each presentation just talking about the industry of network marketing, the benefits of network marketing, and then I would tell this story. And it was just a story that I kind of came up with. It wasn't necessarily a real life story, but I would talk about Mary Kay. And I'd be talking about network marketing, and I'd say, all right, now everybody's heard of Mary Kay, right? And I'd be like, raise your hands if you heard of Mary Kay. People would raise their hands. And I'm like, all right, keep your hands up if you think Mary Kay is a scam. Everybody put their hands down. Nobody thought Mary Kay was a scam, but they immediately in their minds, they all realized like, oh, this network marketing is real. You know, maybe I should pay attention. Maybe this is the next Mary Kay. I mean, everybody has got a good impression of Mary Kay for some reason. I have no affiliation with them, but I love using them as a gold standard in the industry because people don't feel threatened by it, and it makes them feel okay about the industry of network marketing. So I would talk about that, and then I would pull up a picture of a Mary Kay convention, and I would show outside the Mary Kay convention there would be a fleet of pink Cadillacs. And I would talk about those pink Cadillacs and how in Mary Kay, at some point, if you do well enough, you get a pink Cadillac. How many people seen a pink Cadillac driving down the freeway? And I'd get like half the room to raise their hands because they knew what I was talking about, and they'd kind of be grinning a little bit. And then I would just make a joke. I mean, a simple joke. You don't have to be a comedian to do this. And then I would say something to the effect of, right now, somewhere in the U.S., there's an old lady driving down the freeway in a pink Cadillac that loves the industry of network marketing. And people would get that vision in their head of a lady driving down the freeway in a pink Cadillac, and they'd laugh a little bit. And stuff like that's super engaging. And they really like that. Now, on the flip side, I would do the emotional stories as well. Oftentimes, I would talk about the industry of network marketing and the opportunity of building a business from home and why this is so important so you can go out there and create memories. I would tell a story about the time that I went to China with my grandma when she was 82 years old. It was me, my dad, and my grandma. And I would dig into it kind of deep, and I would talk about all the memories we created. I had a picture I would put up on the slides of me sitting on a camel on the Great Wall of China. But then I would like dive even deeper and say, like, it's not about me on a camel on the Great Wall of China. The other side of the camera is my 82-year-old grandmother. And I would talk about that, how we spent 2 weeks there and we created all these memories, and I could remember every single day. And I would paint this picture for them because that would create this engagement. They felt personally connected to me as I'm telling this story. And then I would relate it back to them, and then I would get them to pause for a second. I would say, now you think of something that you did that was really, really memorable. Something like my story, but something that you did, something that happened in your life. And something that was like 10, 15 years ago. I don't want anything too recent. And I would get them to think back about it. And then I would say, all right, now think about every single day. Like, how many people can very vividly remember that memory? And everybody'd raise their hand and be like, all right, now what did you do the 2 weeks before that? And it would cause everybody to pause. And I wouldn't have them tell me or anything, but I knew what was going on in their minds, because when they would think about it, they couldn't remember. It was the same old crap. And when people just go through their lives on a day-to-day routine of going to work and getting a paycheck every other Friday just so they can pay their bills, they don't remember that. And I realized this, and I put that as part of the story because I think about that story with my grandma and going to the Great Wall of China. You asked me what I did the 2 weeks before. I don't even exactly know what house I was living in. I don't completely know what profession I was doing at the time. I know I was, doing something around the industry of real estate, but I don't remember exactly what. I don't remember if I was running my brokerage. I don't remember if I was getting more into investing at that point. I don't remember because it wasn't memorable. The trip was memorable. So I tell this story because I really want to paint this picture for them that creating these memories is important, and there's no opportunity to wait. You shouldn't wait. Waiting to create memories is a really, really bad idea. You know, right now when I'm recording this here in the spring of 2021, I think about this last year, 2020, when, we had the virus is going on. I mean, it's still going on now. People are starting to get vaccinated, and, theoretically the numbers are going down as far as I can tell. But you think about 2020, and like a lot of people just didn't do crap. Like I pretty much, and I was one of them. We didn't do much. We didn't do any of the normal vacations that we would do. We did a few cabin trips and things like that, but for the most part, we kind of hunkered down. We followed the rules. But now I look back at that last year, and I just, I don't have very many really memorable memories from 2020, and that bothers me. And so I think about that because it's all part of my story. I mean, not having memories is now part of my story, and I'm going to talk about that in future presentations. I'm talking about it here. And it's something that I want people to think about. I mean, I took one big vacation in 2020. The very first week of January, myself and my daughter, who was 8 at the time, went on a cruise for 1 week. I remember that. We got back I did have one other short weekend vacation after that to a network marketing event that I coupled with a trip with a couple of my friends. But then that was it. We pretty much got locked down shortly after that, and didn't do anything else, and that just sucks. Think about that. That's 1 year. That's somewhere between 1 to 2% of my life. Maybe more. Who knows? Depends how long I live. Anyways, these stories are important. They're not hard. You just need to practice them. You just need to start saying them. Think about it. You have them inside of you. We all have great memories. We all have things we can talk about. We all have things that we can say that can relate to other people. The memory angle is a great angle. If you want to use my joke around old ladies in pink Cadillacs and Mary Kay, feel free. Take it. It's yours. Keep it as your own if you like. It's easy enough to go on the internet and find a picture of a fleet of pink Cadillacs outside a Mary Kay convention. So just find a picture and, I don't know. Don't steal any images from online. I shouldn't tell you to do that, but find a picture and use it. You'll be fine. All right. Anyways, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Went a little long today, but hope you guys got something out of this. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, the best thing to do is to reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's where I spend most of my time. I check that inbox every single morning myself. It's really the only social media I check myself. And otherwise, you can check out allinnetworker.com. So appreciate you guys as always. And until tomorrow, I'll talk to you, and we'll be back here for day 41. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.